Hello and a very warm welcome to you. This is the courthouse. Yes, we get to learn the law in plain, simple and entertaining language. But this week it's not going to be entertaining for me because what we're talking about is something very, very painful. And it's something that I have been avoiding to talk about for a long time. But with recent happenings in Nigeria, in the global scene, we have to talk about it. And that is rape. We'll go on a quick break. And when we return, you'll be finding out all about that topic, rape. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Well, if you just joined us, as I said at the beginning, we're talking about something that is not so entertaining this week. It's rape, and rape is basically the assault of a person. I'm not going to say a girl or a boy or a woman, but a person says no to sexual intercourse. That constitutes rape if you go ahead with it. And as usual, we're joined by a distinguished legal practitioner who will be giving us the position of the law. Some people seem to feel that the law is not punishing the crime of rape enough, but what does the law actually say? And this week, I have Noble Uchechukwu, a senior legal practitioner based in Nigeria. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. First of all, what's your general reaction? There are a lot of news making the rounds. We're seeing justice for a while. We're seeing justice for this person, justice for the other person, and the many faceless people. How do you react, first of all, as a human being, to the state of affairs?
Number one, I'm a father. And I'm a father who has girls. I'm a human being. And I have people around me. I have sisters. I have nieces. I have cousins. I have humans around me. The thought of somebody violating another, the thought of somebody having a forceful sexual intercourse, the thought of somebody having a non-consensual intercourse with a girl is depravity. That's the way I look at it. No matter what you think, no matter the circumstances, no matter what may have led to it, no matter what may have, pushed it, it is depravity. It is the height of indiscipline. It's unconscionable. And it's something that should be punishable at all cost. It is a no-no. You want my reaction? It's a no-no. That's it.
That is it for me, because really, to me, how can you call yourself a human being, moving with other people, other decent people, living among other humans, and you carry out such dastardly acts? Some people even they don't end with just the rape alone. They go ahead to murder the
violence that comes with it. I mean,
yes.
That's unthinkable. That's unthinkable.
So what's the position of the law? How does the law react to the crime of rape?
Okay, because it's a legal issue, and yes, like you said in your intro, sometimes people feel the law there's no law, there's no instant law on rape that helps the situation. But I'm here to surprise you, there is. And the punishment for rape is a stringent one. You see, the offense of rape is covered under section 357 of the Criminal Code, which is applicable in southern Nigeria, and section 282, subsection 1, and sub A to D of the Penal Code, which is applicable in the north. Let me do a little bit of explanation. Now, rape is also covered in another recent act. In 2015, under the Jonathan's administration, the National Assembly passed the offenses, yes, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015. Now, that same act, in its section 1 and section 26, made provision for rape and prescribed punishment for rape, defined rape as well. Now, another law, when it has to do with children, because you see, we've had cases of infantile defiling. You had cases of rape against
infants.
It makes me, I don't know, I can't take it. What would an adult be looking in a little baby? This
2
is
years old,
evil.
10 months, 3 years.
It's evil. You can't comprehend it. Okay, so section 31, subsection 1 and 3, and then sub A to D, B of the Child Rights Act of 2003 also made provisions for rape. Now, in all these sections of the law, what is rape? I'll talk about attempted rape also, which is another likely offense. Okay, a related offense. Now, rape is defined as a felony. It's an act where one has unlawful carnal knowledge of a girl without her consent. The key thing there is consent. Now, when we talk about consent, who can give consent? Anyone who goes have unlawful carnal knowledge of a girl that is below 18 years, the law says she cannot give consent because she's not an adult. So it has to be a consenting adult. Now, this is some of the fact that people do not know out there. You say, okay, she's my girlfriend. How old is she?
15.
She's an infant. Wow. She's a teenager. And then you go and have something without, again, without consent, again, on top of it. That's criminal. Ab initio, from the very start. From the very beginning, it is criminal. So she has no capacity to give consent to sex. So if you go do it, you are guilty if found guilty by a court. Now, that's where the problem is. Being found guilty.
Being found guilty, yes. Now, because now a lot of people have issues with the courts making pronouncements in terms of rape. But who is actually to blame? Because the courts would act on the evidence before it.
I will come to that.
Okay.
Now, what is the punishment prescribed for rape? Is it recently somebody proposed in the House of Rep that the punishment for rape should be turned to castration, and it was turned down. Is it people who feel, yes, some people have clamored to turn it into a death sentence. Yes, that clamor is there.
To me, I think the person should not just be caned according to the law. The person should be brought out under the sun, tied hand, leg in different directions.
With some pepper.
And with some pepper.
You know,
thank you.
Give it a Nigerian flavor.
Yes.
And then do the proper caning.
Spicy.
So you see, the law has a provision, and I think all over the world, the capital punishment is being dropped in several parts of the world. Yes. So a law that provides as much as life imprisonment, the law is good in itself. Now, the section 359 provides for attempted rape. Let me define. Now, let me give a scenario so that you can understand this. How does rape happen? She said no. Like the popular slogan that is going on, after the Justice for Our hashtag, they say no is no.
No is no.
Actually, no is no. If she said, I'm afraid, it means no. If she said, please, nah, it means no. If she said, don't do it, please, it means no. If she said, my mommy will rape, it means no. Any other thing she said means no. No is no. No. If she cries, it means no. If she hisses, it means no. If she gets in one corner afraid, it means no. If you see tears in her eyes, it means no. Any of these signs means there is no consent. Simplicity. Now, sometimes rape involves violence because you see, how do they procure rape? How, when we talk about the consent, you talk about how was consent obtained. Because if one also obtained the consent under duress, obtained the consent with fear, intimidation, fear of hurt, fear of being beaten, fear of, or even procure, let me just go, or try to procure the rape by administering intoxicating or, substance that makes the victim lose control. It is rape because the consent was not given clearly. Now, when anyone does any of these things, you have attempted the violence, you have tried to force her, you tore her underwear, you tore her clothes apart, you ripped her, you slapped her, you punished her, you pushed her down, you tried to gag her leg, you tried to stretch her out, anything like this you do. Once there is penetration, it is rape. But if there was no penetration, it is no longer rape, it becomes attempted rape. Now, this is where the problem with proving rape
Comes in.
happens. Because rape is not complete without penetration. And in proving penetration, issues come in. So rape is any sex obtained without consent, or where the consent is obtained by force, by threat, or by fraud.
Okay.
You see how fraud? You are blackmailing a girl, and out of the blackmail, she yields herself. It's not her will, but she yielded because of the blackmail. It's rape.
Even when we talked about the issue of the sex for grades, that also, to my mind, is
Yes,
rape.
it's rape.
Because you are
That's a threat.
That's
a fraud.
If you don't consent, you will fail my course. So these are scenarios, and it's quite painful to know that every day we have victims of rape, and statistics show that now 1 in 4 boys under the age of 18 are victims of rape. So it's not just about the girls anymore.
Now that's another issue with the law.
That's another issue.
That's another issue with the law.
But we want to take a
that.
listen. We have a report on this issue. We have a report, and of course, we'll give you some of our legal nuggets. We'll be back with more on this topic. Can boys be raped? Can even women in marriages, can they be victims of rape as well? Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Rape is a type of sexual assault usually involving sexual intercourse or other forms of sexual penetration carried out against a person without that person's consent. The act may be carried out by physical force, coercion, abuse of authority, or against a person who is incapable of giving valid consent, such as one who is unconscious, incapacitated, has an intellectual disability, or is below the legal age of consent. The term rape is sometimes used interchangeably with the term sexual assault. The rate of reporting, prosecuting, and convicting for rape varies from jurisdictions. Worldwide, rape is primarily committed by males. Rape by strangers is usually less common than rape by people the victim knows, and the male-on-male and female-on-female prison rapes are common and may be the least reported forms of rape. Widespread and systematic rape, for instance, war rape and sexual slavery, can occur during international conflict. These practices are crimes against humanity and war crimes. Rape is also recognized as an element of the crime of genocide when committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a targeted ethnic group. You're welcome back. Like I said, this week on the courthouse is not a day for me to smile, and it's not a day for me to entertain, because we're talking about something very, very painful to hear, the issue of rape. Now, our legal panelist has been talking about the fact that once the consent is not obtained, once a person says no, and the law also states it clearly, a person under the age of 18 is not capable of giving consent. So as our legal practitioner who is on the panel today said, if you are going out with a girl of less than 18 and you are having intercourse with her, that would constitute rape, because when you are caught, when the parents decide to charge you, you would have to pay for it. And of course, we have more on this topic. You were talking about the issue of boys. The fact that boys, we don't have reporting, we don't have general provisions apart from the FCT in Nigeria that mentions the issue of boys. So give us more on that.
You see, the thing is that the provision of the law, now when you talk about the Criminal Act, the Criminal Code, you also have the Criminal Procedure Act, which is that defines the procedural law, to apply the code. Now, certain things are provided, like example is section 12, of the the CPA, and Section 30 also, that talks about that a minor, rape cannot be committed by a minor under the age of 13, under the age of 12. So anyone who is less than 12 cannot commit rape. But we have found out that in recent times, you find children raping themselves, raping one another, little boys, little girls. And then it also says that, in defining rape, it only mentioned the woman. So according to this act, a boy
is not capable of being
cannot be raped. That's actually what the law. Then another thing you mentioned in your talk, is a woman, a boy cannot be raped by a woman. That's actually what they say. But these days it's happening. There's also women gang raping boys. It's already happening in the society right now. So that's an area that requires a repealing, that requires an amendment with the law. Now, another issue is the law says the rape cannot exist in a valid marriage. What it means, once the marriage is valid, a husband cannot rape a wife under the criminal law.
Please remind us of what's this law again? Please tell us again.
The criminal code says, once the marriage is valid, because the thing is this, there's this issue of justification of marriage.
Yes.
Okay, so once there is a valid marriage, it is like a consent given when you entered into that marriage.
Contract.
That contract is there that the man can have when he wants. Now, feminists are arguing, no, should it be or should it not be? The woman also has a right to say no. But my position on that is that if you actually is a valid marriage, then in a valid marriage, love exists. In a valid marriage, you should also know because consent exists. When she says I'm tired,
what about other jurisdictions?
Let her be.
Let's leave this jurisdiction.
Let's leave this jurisdiction matter. There are a lot of things I want to say here, since we're elucidating and informing the viewers and the public. Now, attempted rape, like I said, is punishable with 14 years imprisonment with or without caning. So 14 years imprisonment is the maximum. A lot of time, there are attenuating factors that reduces the offense of rape and then that determines what a judge will rule in the case of rape. Now, an old case, Rex and Ophion, established, what constitutes, attempted rape. So a forceful holding, in an attempt to penetrate, expression of desire to have a forceful sex, taking off clothes of the other party forcefully. I've mentioned things like that. Anything you do towards it, but there was no actual penetration, then becomes this. Now, a lot of time, the proof of rape is penetration. Now, this is where the problem comes. And this is why it seems, they're not convicting people enough because of rape. Now, for you to actually prove rape, you must have corroborated evidence to support it. There has to be evidence. That's where the problem is. Do you have a forensic evidence to prove? In the Western world, if a woman complains of rape immediately, a doctor is sent, you get to a hospital. There's a rape kit immediately. There's a test that can be checked. They can run a check immediately and know, are they check out for abrasions? Is there bruises? Is there even sign of a semen or anything like that? So these are the things that proves penetration. But is he here? A rape victim will cry, will not even tell the mother, especially when they're children. There's a statistics that tries to say that 40% of women in this country at one time or the other, even 60% at one time or the other have been raped. And they're never reported.
They are never reported.
They keep quiet about it.
Before I ask about the issue of underreporting or lack of interest in reporting, how do you feel about what was the position of the law about parents that actually defile their children? Parents, this is another category of human beings that I don't know how to describe at the moment. They rape their children, their own flesh and blood.
Permit me to speak not as a lawyer on this matter. Any father that rapes his own child, be it an adopted child, be it a stepchild, that father is demonic. He's under the influence of a demon. There's no other thing.
Okay,
at this point,
let me also tell you that Noble Uchechukwu, a legal practitioner, is also a clergy. So he's talking in a capacity as a pastor at the moment.
Yeah, that's why I said, let me not speak like a lawyer.
Yes.
It's demonic. how can somebody flesh and blood, your own, don't you feel a rubble in your spirit or something? I just can't understand this. So you see, yes, they do it these days.
A lot.
Depravity.
And the women, the wives,
perversion. Sometimes their wives cover
it up.
This stuff.
Why?
Now, the question why is what leads us to the society that we're in. Stigmatization. The society labels, oh, that girl, forget her. You see, we have a society that would rather blame the girl child for being raped rather than find the culprit and make him to suffer punishment.
Thank you for that.
They turn around and start telling the girl, what were you wearing?
What were you wearing? What were you doing there?
What were you doing? How did you even go there? You can go there freely, and then in the middle of the way, your consent changes. I don't want to do it again.
For
Simple.
instance, even this recent case of Uwaila Vera.
That went to pray in church, to study in church.
That's supposed
So
to be
what would you say?
a sacred place.
What will you say to that?
People are asking, what was she doing there? Is that the place for her to read? And I'm like, how can you ask?
She wants to read where the presence of the Holy Ghost is.
Wow.
And it's not anybody's business. The church is open for anybody to go in, to pray. Maybe she was praying. After praying, she decided to read. It's not anybody's business what she went to do in the church. The church is not a hotel. The church is not a brothel. So anybody can't just start saying, what was she doing there? Even if she was in a brothel. If she says, I don't want, no is no. Simple.
No is no, simple. So that brings me to this question of what is the Nigerian Bar Association doing about it? Because people are saying the NBA is silent about it. When it was time to prosecute the former Chief Justice, they came out and all that. Is it true that the NBA is actually quiet? And if that is the case, what should the NBA be doing?
Well, the NBA, I will not say the NBA is quiet. The NBA is not quiet. If you've checked well, the president of the NBA, current president Paul Osoro, has issued a statement in that regard.
Yes.
Remember, we are in a lockdown situation. Now, we have an election coming on in the Nigerian Bar Association any moment very soon. Now, I have monitored all the contestants for the post of the presidents have all issued their statements in that, condemning the act. Is it Olomu-Agbodo wrote copiously, condemning this act, and I was pleased, with his comment in that regard. So is not correct for anyone to say that the NBA is keeping quiet. In any case, I'm here speaking. I am also a member of the NBA. So the NBA is not quiet on this. We're not complicit with it. But you see, let me come to what the matter is and why people may not understand what happens in court. Like I said, rape is proven upon penetration. To prove penetration, number one, the girl victim will have to come in open court. This is one of the problems. And so in the open court, you will face a crowd. Now, under cross-examination, you will be asked questions that sometimes the rape victim either breaks down remembering such things and so cannot express herself, or possibly she's in that court, charging someone for rape, and another person in that court is somebody that may have slept with her before, now, which is not being charged for rape. Yeah. Can she face it in the open court? This is one of the things that happen. Number two, parents will tell you, no, don't bring my family to public. Don't disgrace us. Sometimes rape victims end up being pregnant, and the parents go to procure an abortion just because they don't want to remember this thing, and then it is sealed up there. This is the biggest problem to rape. The second being the fact that it is difficult to prove penetration. But at least, even if you're not able to prove penetration and give the forensic evidence because you didn't report immediately, but at least you can, when you charge for rape and push your case, if you're unable to prove penetration, but you can prove every other, constituent or ingredient of the offense, the court will reduce it. So at least somebody will go to jail for it. So my encouragement is to come out, okay? Absence of speedy medical response for victims is one of that. Thank God for the Trauma Care International, that thanks to our man of God, for the Trauma Care International Foundation. You see, a trauma center is one of such places that can actually handle this when on the spot of the moment you get to such a place, and then you can get the right treatment. Now, the people perceive the failed judicial system. For instance, you start a case of rape today, the case doesn't end. It lasts for years. So every day, every month, every other month, you are coming to court to answer questions. You are being reminded of something you want to put behind you and move on. So some people will just back out.
Wow.
This is one of the challenges.
Let me just ask a final question, because we're out of time now.
Okay.
A lot of does the statute of limitation, the statute of limitation, does it apply to rape cases? Just let us know, a yes or no.
Rape is a crime. Okay, the limitation, status of limitation works mostly in civil matters. So at any time you wake up and remember it, and you can prove it, and the facts are there, the evidence is there, you can still go back and the person will be tried for rape. So if you have healed, but you are still hurting, you can heal, but you are still hurting. If you have healed and you are still hurting, you can still come out, no matter how long, if you can prove your matter. Parents are not taking time to train the boys. The boys are not having father figure that guides them on what is right and what is not right. So they grow up with a sense of entitlement, and they stretch that entitlement to being entitled to having a girl, whether she says yes or no. This is one of the key things. We should start raising the boy child to know that the girl ought to be respected.
Everyone should know that no means no. Rape is a serious crime. It's actually a crime against humanity. Don't engage in acts like that. It is totally unbiblical. It is not Christianly. These are actually signs of the end, but we know that we are more than conquerors, and we are going to be above this very, very soon. So you can find out more on this topic on our website on www.loverplus.tv. You can also send comments to us on the number that will be shown on your screen now. But before we leave, we have our bar book. Just take a look at some Latin maxims and their meanings. Well, that's the much we can take this week on the Courthouse. It was actually a very insightful topic. We talked about rape, and we would like to get your reactions. We would like you to use our hashtag the Courthouse, hashtag LoverPlus, and we'd like you to download our app so that you can follow our programs on the go. I'm Olomu-Agbodo. Don't just get mad, go get a lawyer.